Good afternoon, everybody. Apologies that I could not make the last class. I had to attend to something, and that's why I could not make it. So we tried to bring another person on board, which I believe that you guys enjoyed the session. So before we proceed, I just want to ask about your experience with the last facilitator. So anybody, please, how was last class? And what were you able to pick from the class? Anybody, please? Can we hear me? Assist, can you hear me? Can Assist hear me? No. Okay, so now were you in last class? I just want to be sure. Okay, is Assist in the last class?
Hello, sir.
Yes, are you in the last class?
Yeah, I was in last class.
Okay, so now how was it?
Yeah, it was okay. It was fine.
It was fine.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We were being like we touched aspect of website to get inspiration from when you want to make your designs.
Okay. Okay.
Website like designinspiration.com, behance.com,
Okay.
.net, Pinterest, creatingmarket.com, Adobe Stock, Design Inspire, Graphic River, Design Taxi, Creative Boom, Creative Blog, Dribble.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So now, can you now work with all those resources that is shared with you guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now, I just want to be sure that you guys really understood what was taught last on Wednesday, I think. Okay, that should be Wednesday, yes. So we are starting on introduction to Photoshop today. So we are going to, it's likely that we start designing today, right? So, and I'm going to share my screen now so that we can start. So how many of us has Photoshop installed on our system? How many of us? Assist, do you have Photoshop installed on your system? Okay, you are okay. That makes sense. So now, how many of us how many of us are familiar with Photoshop before? You have worked on Photoshop before. Can you raise your hand? You have worked on Photoshop before. Raise your hand. You are familiar with Photoshop, please raise your hand, or maybe just type I in the chat box. Okay, Assist us. Okay, that makes sense. So I'll be sharing my screen right away because we don't really have much time. Okay, please, host, can I share my screen? Please permit me to share my screen.
You can share your screen, is available.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, Where is the Photoshop? Okay, this is Photoshop. Okay, now can we all see my screen now? So this is the application that we are going to use for our design. And if you guys can remember vividly, I discussed about when we started about raster graphics and vector graphics, and I was trying to explain some things that it's important that you know the right software to use when you want to, when you want to work on any projects, right? And I was emphasizing that if you want to design, you are designing something that is going to be printed, probably a banner or maybe a complimentary card, anything that is going to be printed. I was advising you guys that you should make use of what? Make use of vector-based software, which are what? Either CorelDRAW or Illustrator, which are the most the most popular ones, right? And in fact, Illustrator is even the industry standard, right? Because if you are working in an agency, right? So now the software they use is basically, most of it is basically Adobe Illustrator, right? They also use InDesign, Photoshop, So now those are the software that they use. So that is why it's important that you know the right software to use when you are working on any project. Though you can still design banner on Photoshop, but the thing is that the file is going to be heavy because it's not built for that. Photoshop is built for color manipulation, for display design, right? You want to make use of something on your social media design. You want to make use of your design on your website. So now Photoshop is perfect for it. And I also emphasize that Photoshop is RGB, RGB color-based mode, right? And Illustrator is CMYK color-based mode, right? So now if you design anything in Illustrator by default, even if you don't even tamper with the color mode, what you are going to see there is CMYK color mode. And if you just launch your Photoshop as well, what you are going to see under the color mode is RGB, right? So now it's important that you know that. And the advantage of that is that if you are designing anything in the CorelDRAW, right? So now when you send to a printer to print for you, there is not any conversion is not going to be taking place, right? Because you have already designed in CMYK, and you're also sending to a machine which is also a CMYK color mode, which also uses CMYK color mode technology, right? So that is why it's important. However, you can always change your color profile, either in Photoshop or in Illustrator. You can change the color mode you want to work with, right? So it's important to note that whenever you are designing. Provided you now want to use Illustrator, Photoshop for your maybe flyer design, right? You can change the color mode to CMYK. Just that when you zoom it to a certain level, it's going to start pixelating. And I'm going to exercise that to you now. I'm going to prove it to you. We are going to type something and we are now going to scale it on Photoshop, right? So that you see what we are talking about the difference between a raster graphic and a vector graphic. So let's start. So now when you first launch your Photoshop application, this is the interface you are going to see, right? Especially those of us that are using I think the version I'm using is, I think 2021 or 2022. I can't really remember. I think 2022. Let me check. Let me quickly check that if I'll be able to do that. I think it's 2021. Let me check quickly about Photoshop. Okay, version 2020. Okay, 24 points. Okay, it's 2023 anyway. I think I'm using the latest one. Okay, now let's move forward. So now, if you launch your Photoshop application, this is what you are going to see, right? And these are your menu bar. Your file, your edit, your image, your layer, your type, your select, your filter, your 3D view, plugins, window, app. So now these are the things you are going to see. Then you see new file here, right? And you know that when we're discussing about the principle of design, we make mention of emphasis, right? So now when you log into when you launch your industry in Photoshop. So now what do you want to do first? You want to create a new document. You want to create a new file, or probably you want to open an existing file. Are you see now? That's why they make this blue. They have this white text on a blue background, and it's more prominent. In fact, that is what is going to catch your attention when you launch Photoshop, right? The same way when you are designing, something must first catch the attention of your audience, right? So now that is what makes your design that's when people will know that, okay, your design actually works, right? It solved the problem that it is intended to solve. So now what you're not going to do is now, so you see these two options now, new file or open. New file means that you want to create a new file, you want to design something new, right? So now this open now, peradventure you have been working on a project before and probably you did not complete it, but you saved it on your computer, right? You can just click here and open it. It will browse through your computer and ask you to open it. You can open an image, right? And you can open also a PSD file. Do we get it now? Let me just try and see something now. Let me just locate one of the projects I've worked on. Can you see now? Can you see now this book cover? I can click it, then I can open it, right? I will just click open here. Can you see my mouse cursor? Yes, you can just click it, it will open. Right, but we are not opening any project now. What we want to do is want to create a new file, right? So now, also let me also tell you this thing. You see all these things that you see, all these your menu bar, they have the purpose they are serving. And I'm going to be sharing a particular Photoshop this thing with you after this class. So you have to watch it at your own layer time so that you have better understanding of the software that we are using today, which is Photoshop. So I will share a link with you after today's class. So you learn more about all these tools, how they work and all of that, because we don't have time for that. We just want to design, right? So now by next class, when we are picking up another project, right? You guys must have been familiar with all these the interface of Photoshop. So let's move further. So now we create a new file, right? So now look at this now. There are a lot of redefined dimensions, projects that has already been created, by the company that developed, Photoshop software, right? So now it means that if you want to, okay, look at this recent. This recent means that these are the dimension that I've worked with, right? 928 by 722. I've worked with A4, I've worked with 210 by 297. So now these are the dimensions of project that I've worked on, right? Paper size. Because I think I also told you this when we started that if you are working on anything, like you are going to be given a brief to work on. And what you are going to do when you are given a brief to work on is to ask the client, where do you want to use this design, right? Are you going to print it out? Right? Is it on social media that you're going to use it? Do you want to use it as a web banner? Right? So now it's important that you know this thing so that you know the right dimension, the right orientation to work with when you are setting up your file. Right? When you are setting up your document. Do we get it now? So now these are predefined dimensions that me personally have worked on. But Photoshop still adds some for us, meaning that you don't need to stress yourself. Probably you want to print something now. Let's say you want to design something that is going to be printed. You can just click on print. Can you see A4? Right? Just click A4. If it's A4 paper that you want to design, A4 paper document that you want to work with, click on it. Then you give your project a name. That is why you have this untitled here. It's untitled because you have not yet given your project any name. And you know that you have a lot of what's it called now? A lot of documents that you must have probably worked on. So now you want to make sure that the name you are giving your project is unique. So that when you are now searching for that particular project in the future, it will be easier for you to search for it and open it. Are we following? So now we have different SI units. How many of us are science students here? So now we have pixels, it's an SI unit. We have inches, we have centimeters, we have millimeters, we have points, we have meters, right? But most of the time we work with pixels in Photoshop. In fact, the default one that we are going to see here, especially if you are working with print, if you want to just decide to to be displayed on all. So now what you are going to see is what is pixels. But if you want to print something, you click on this print, what you are going to see is inches. It's going to change it to inches. Can you see now? When I click on mega, it changes dimension to inches, right? Can you see inches? Inches. But if you now go to, let's say for instance, you go to on mobile, so now you see now it has changed to what? Pixels, because you work with pixels when it comes to mobile, right? You work with pixels, right? Because you work with screen, computer screen. You understand my point now? And you know that computer is what? It's formed with a rectangular boxes. Do we get it now? So now let's move further. So now, because we are going to, let's say for instance, what we are designing now is a social media post. And usually your social media post is always in square form. Social media posts are the design that you want to use on either on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, or on what? On Twitter, right? So now the dimension that we normally use is what? Either is always in square. You are now the one that will decide is, do I want to work with maybe 1080 by 1080 or maybe 1000 by 1000. But most of the time, I personally work with 1080 by what? By 1080, because it has what? Social media post has what? Equal size. Yet, except on Instagram, that has a kind of, I think we can actually, I think it has another dimension. You know, I think maybe 1350 by maybe 700 or something. I can't really remember. You guys can search for that. Different dimensions that's acceptable for Instagram, right? So you can search for it. But I'm very sure of 1080 by 1080, which is square orientation. Do we get it now? Then resolution, now you can also set your resolution. It's in 72, but let me make something clear here. So now the fact that I set it to 72 does not mean that I cannot increase it. So now, how, you know, the number of my resolution, the number that I put here, will determine how, if I try to scale my document after I've designed it, right, will determine how the extent at which it's going to work is going to pixel it. Do we get it now? So now meaning that if I change this resolution to maybe 300 resolution now, it means that if I scale that document after I've designed it, it will not easily pixel it compared to what if I design with 72 resolution and I export it, it will take little time when it's going to what? It's going to pixel it. And I will show us an example of that, right? So now, then you see now, the color mode here is what? Is RGB color mode. You know, I've explained it the other time. So now if you now want to print this guy that you want to, you want to work with, you choose what? CMYK color mode. But because we are not printing, so we are selecting what? RGB color mode. So you don't need to change this pixels per inches. That is the dimension, that the default dimension, just leave it as it is. Then RGB column, just leave it as it is, because it's what you are designing what to be displayed on your social media, right? Then don't change this one, just leave it as it is. Then this one means that you want to, the background that you want to show, you want your document to show after you have created this document. You understand now? You can change the color, say you want to use black. But the challenge is that, the interface we are using is black already. So even if you now use black here now, it means it's going to be, there is going to be conflict. There is going to be challenge, right? So now you leave it as what? As white. Don't tamper with any other places. I don't used to tamper with any other places. What I just do is what? To change my what? To give my document the name I want to give it. Then to do what? To the size of what I'm working with, which is width and what and height. I put it there. Then if it is probably I want to design for maybe a roll-up banner on Photoshop, what would I do? I change this to what? To inches. So I will not start converting from pixels to what? To inches. So I will just put it here, because most of the time when you search online, right? When you search online for the size of roll-up banner, they are going to give you in inches. So it's wise. It makes sense that you just come here and change what? The dimension to inches instead of start converting from pixels to inches. So that's why it's important. So now let's leave it by in pixels, and let's now create. We can now create our document. So now let's give our document a title. Let's say Burger project. So now this is the project we want to work on today. We want to work on Burger project. I'm going to be sharing it with us now so that we can see it. So let's create it. So now this is the this is what we are working with now. This is the title of the document we just created. So now meaning that if you measure this place now, this size is 1080 and the height is also what 1080, right? Meaning that you have opportunity to work. You have opportunity to work to create anything on this empty space, empty document. So you are the one that will fill it up, right? For every design that you see out there, there are ones like this. So now it's the designer that have to work, that have to fill it up. Do we get it now? It's the designer that has to do what? That has to what? Fill it up with the information based on the brief received from the client. So now you see your left panel here, this place. These are your toolbar, right? These are your tools. These are the tools that you use in creating that magic in Photoshop. Then we also have layer panel here. We also have another one here, right? This one is history. This one is comments. This one is this one is your layer panel, right? These ones are panel. What you have is in your right hand here, they are panel, right? But what you have on your left hand side, they are what? They are tools that you use. So now, and the first tool that you are going to be working with most of the time is what? Is your move tool. Can you see? If you type anything on this is your type tool, is represented by letter T. If you click on it, right, and you click on this empty space now, this white space, right? Click on this white space, type something, let's type Burger. So now, type Burger, I want to increase the size. I'm going to still tell you how to increase the size of anything you place on your document. I'm going to still tell you. So now this is the size. Okay, before we move further, let me show you what I was trying to explain the other time. That Photoshop is what? Is a raster software that is what you are seeing here now is a combination of boxes, which is what? Pixels arranged in a grid, right? So now let's now increase the size. Can you see now? Can you see? Can you now start seeing the boxes? So meaning that this is a raster software and it represents its own image by boxes, which are called pixels. If you increase it more, you will see now, you will see that it will get to a point where you are not even going to see any color anymore. Can you see? Can you see the boxes now? So now it means that this font, right, is made of what? Pixels. So Photoshop represents its own image by what? By pixels, which are what? Which are rectangle, which are what? Square. Can you see that they now have different colors? The color in this place is different from the one here. Do we get it now? So that is that. So now if you understand to the point that we are presenting, just comment, just say I understand, or maybe just say yes. Type yes in the chat section. Type yes if you get it to what I've been explaining till this point. Say yes. Okay, makes sense. So now can we now see the demonstration of what? Of raster software and what? Raster software now. You see that when we increase the size, it started what? Pixelating, right? So that is what we are trying to talk about when we are saying, well, that's what we meant by what? Raster softwares, which Photoshop is part of them, right? So now let's delete this guy. So now it's not that you will be working with all the tools here. In fact, when you are creating anything in Photoshop, right, there are major ones you are going to be working with. Or I believe that after I've sent you the link to a Photoshop tutorial that I said I was going to send to you, you will be able to understand the usefulness of all these tools better. But now I'm just going to show us maybe 4 of these tools now. The number one is what? Is move tool, which is what? Is this 4+ cross sign with arrows around it, right? So now this is your move tool. So now if you type anything on this page now, let's retype that Burger, because that is the project we are working on. So now you increase this. So now this is what we are going to use to move it. And mind you, in Photoshop, you work with layers. You work with what? Layers. So that means that things are arranged in order. You know layers now. When you say something is in layers, one after the other, one after the other. So you open one, another one will come. You open one, another will come. You understand the point now? So that is it. You work with layers. If you look at this place now, because I've just created the guy on this document, which is Burger, can you see the layer now? So now if I still click on my type tool now, if I click on my type tool now and I type, let's say I'm king, and I'll type king, right? And I still increase the size. Can you see? Can you see now my layer panel? It's now this and now another layer. So now, meaning that if I want to, maybe I made a mistake when I was typing this one. Maybe I did not put up to my burger, right? Probably I've now typed what king. So now instead of me to be panicking that I've made a mistake, how will I edit it? What I will just do is just to click on that particular layer where I want to make that changes. I click on it, right? Then I apply the changes. Then I type, I adjust it. Can you see now? So now that is the beauty. That's one of the beauty of Photoshop. So now it allows you to work with layers, meaning that one layer is independent on the other. Though there are times that you can, have one layer in another layer. We call it our clipping. So now you have one layer in another layer. Do we get it now? Let me show us something. Can you see this guy now? I want to put it inside this guy, inside the burger. So now what will I do? I will write on my layer panel, I will select that layer, that particular layer, which is king. You can see that it's marked now, it's highlighted. Can you see? If I click this one, you can see that the color has changed, right? So now I want to make this king to be inside the burger. What will I do? I will right click on that particular layer, which is king. Right click on it. Then what? I click on what? Where is it? Coming. Okay. So now, before you can do that, before you will be able to do that, you have to convert this guy. You have to convert it to what? A smart object. A smart object, you have to convert it to what? To a smart object, right? Let's say I've converted this guy to a smart. It's now a shape now. It's no more a font. That is the meaning. So that this guy is no more a font, it's now what? A shape. Meaning that I cannot re-edit this guy again. I cannot type on it again. But there is another way I can type on it, right? So now if I double click on this one now, this thing that looks like a folder in this place, this thumbnail. If I double click on it, it will open another document. Then that is when I can now be able to change it. Let me see. Because I've converted it to what? To a smart object. So now it gives me that flexibility. So let's see now, the RL will now show now. Can you see now? But because I've converted to a smart object here, you will not be able to change it here until you double click on this thumbnail, which looks like what? Like an icon, like a folder icon. Double click on it. That is when you'll be able to change it. So I can now I can now put this one. Okay, I think I still have to convert this one to what? To smart object before I be able to do that. Either I convert it to smart object or I rasterize it. So rasterize means that you want to convert it to an image. Convert to smart objects means that you want to convert it to something like a shape. Do we get it now? So now let's rasterize this guy. I've rasterized this one, then I can now what? Create clipping mask. So now meaning that this king now is now inside this what? Inside this program. For you to be able to know that, let me undo. I want to give my text, I want to give it another color so that you will see that it's inside of it when we are now moving it around. Okay, there's it. Can you see now? So now we now right click on it, then rasterize it, meaning that we want to rasterize, we want to convert it to what? To an image. Do we get it now? Do we see that this one, after we have rasterized this one, there is no any thumbnail here. But you have one thumbnail here. Can you see it? There is thumbnail here. But on this one, there is no thumbnail, meaning that this one is an image. Right? It has been rasterized. But this one is what? Is a smart object. That is how to differentiate between a smart object and what? And a rasterized what? Object. And a rasterized image. Do we get it now? So now the beauty of smart object is that you can now open this guy in another place and make some changes. And any changes you make will now affect the parent what? The parent file. This one is the parent file now, right? So now when you double click on it, you can edit it, right? And once you save it, it will now reflect here. Do you get it now? So now let's now power clip again. Right click on it, then you create what? Clipping mask. Create clipping mask. Can you see now? So now you Control T means transformation. Can you see now? Look at that effect. Can we see it now? Can we see it now? Do we get it? So now this is what we call clipping mask. It means that you have another object, you now have another, let's say object, or an image in another image, or an object in another object. Do we get it now? You can see that it gives it a kind of nice look. I even like it. I like the feel, right? So that is how clipping mask works. Clipping mask works, right? It means that you can have an image of somebody and have another face and put another face of another person in it without even deleting the image of the face of the existing person. It will only maintain the shape of that existing the parent object. So now this is like a parent, and this is now like a child. Meaning that in a parent, you have a child. This is the parent now. This is now the child. The king is the child. Then this is the parent. Do we get it now? So that is that. So now we have another tool, which is what? Polygonal lasso tool. So now this is what we use to crop any image in Photoshop. So you want to remove the background of any your picture, you use what? You use what? Polygonal lasso tool to do that, right? So now say you want to crop, right? You want to crop an image. Let's import one. Okay, let me show you two. There are two ways to import now. I want to import a file so that you can see how, that polygonal lasso tool works and how crop tool works, right? I know that we are all familiar with crop tool, but let's see how it also works in Photoshop. So now what you want to do now is that I said there are two ways to open your document. Is that if you click on open now, you click on just open. Let's say you click on this one, you locate the file, you click open. It's going to open another window, right? But we don't want it to open another window. We want it to open on this same document that we have just created, because this is where we need it. So what will you do? You click on file, then you click on place embedded, meaning that when you are opening this document, still make sure that it's on the document that I've already created. Do we get it? Then place embedded, right? You will see now. Click on locate the file you want to import. Click on it, then you click on place. Can you see now? So now instead of it to open another document, if you click open, it's going to open another window. But when you use place embedded, it's going to open on what? On the existing document where you want it to. Do we get it now? So now let's say, for instance, we now want to use what's it called now? Okay, let's first use what's it called? The crop tool now. We want to use the crop tool. We can do like this. Can you see? Can you see it now? So the thing now is that the old document will be shaped to be this now. Let's enter it. Can you see now? It will change the whole orientation of the document. Based on what? The size of the what? Based on how what you use with your what? With your crop tool, yes. Right? Based on the area that you want to crop, it's going to crop the original image to fit in, right? But we don't want to do that. So let's move further. So that is how crop tool works. So now okay, let's see how polygonal lasso tool work. I want to just import an image now. I pray I'm able to find one. No. I pray I'm able to find one easily. Place embedded. Okay. Okay. Can we see now? Let me import this one. So the image is rough, but let's just see it. So now this is the guy. I want to remove the background, right? I want to remove all these ones so that I can be able to put this person inside another background. I can now apply another background to this person. I can change the background to yellow. Remember your passport. When you go to your photograph that, oh, I want a red background passport, I want a yellow background passport. This is how they do it. What they need to do is what? It's either they put up maybe a red background when they are taking the picture, or you can do the magic here in Photoshop. Right. So after you have now cropped this guy out, you can now apply what? That background. You can now apply any background you want to put on it. The Photoshop, the passport I'm using now, I did not. I just opened it. I just crop it in Photoshop and I apply the background that I want on it. Right. So now this is the person that you want to crop now. So now what you are going to use is what? But you know that this guy is already what? Is an object already. It's a smart object. Before you can be able to crop it, right, and remove the background, you must convert this smart object to what? To rasterize to an image. This is not an image, it's an object. Then to convert it to an image, you have to do what? Like click on that image and what? And rasterize it. Right? Can you see now that the smart object thumbnail is gone? So now what are we now going to do? We now pick this one, polygonal lasso 2. Then you now start checking. You now start tracing. You will start tracing the edge. It's just the edges that you are going to what? Be tracing. You must practice this when you get to place. After the class, you must practice this. It's not going to be. I have a source code that I normally use, but I will not show you today. I will show you in our next class, right? I have a source code that I normally use. So that is a kind of AI source, it's a kind of website. So I will just import the picture there, then we remove the background, and I download and use it in my project. So now AI has to make life easier. But before, it's important that you learn to use this one, because there are times that it will not edit it very well, it will not crop it very well. So I mean, many times I prefer to use my own personal, to crop it out myself instead of using this thing. But even when you are cropping it out, you have to zoom very well, so you can see the details of that particular picture. Well, I'm able to do that now because I've started editing already. So now, what you're now going to do, look at it now. Can you see it? You have to come and join it to where you start. This is where you start, then you crop it. Then you come and join it to where you start. So now if you press backspace on your keyboard now, backspace, bam, is deleted. Can we see now? But we can see that it's not perfect. Can we see this one? Can we see these edges? That's why it's important that you zoom in, so you can see all the details very well before you now start cropping. This way I want to start this one now. I want to start here. Can you see where I started? So now I want to crop it better now. Tracing it. So it used to take time, but you just have to do it. So now let me now you remember I said you are going to come back to where you started. Then you do what? You click backspace on your computer, on your keyboard. And we see it now. It's more better, right? So there are better ways to it anyway. Let me just show you now. So now, after you must have cropped it like this, you now right click on this area, this selected area now. Right click on it. Can you see? You now click on feather. So now instead of having that sharp edges around that image, you will now have soft edges around it. Right? You now have soft edges. Let me show you now. Feather. Let's make the feather to be maybe 5. Right? Can you see now? Can you see? Look at it very well now. Then I'm going to now, can you see? No, it didn't do what I wanted. Let me add more feather to it. Let me say, I think that amount is too small. Let me say 15. So now I want to delete it. No, it didn't give me what I want. So now to make, can you see now that it's not as sharp as it were before, right? Because I've applied that feather. So now do you apply feather? After you have selected that particular area, then you right click on your computer. Let's say, for instance, it's just this area that I select now, right? I want to apply feather around it. I will right click on it, click feather, then the amount you want to use, right? You just, let me say 15, I click OK, then I do what? I delete. Can you see? Can you see something like shadow around it? Can you see something like shadow around it? Let me now show you when I did not apply any feather. Can you see how everything is sharp? Can you see these edges? Can you see how sharp they are? Right? Before I apply, when I did not apply feather, if I delete it now, can you see now? Look at how sharp everything is. But when I now apply feather, all those sharp edges will now become what? They will now become soft. Let me add 15 to it. Can you see now? It has now become a kind of rounded shape. That's the work of the feather. Then you click. Can you see now? This one now look more even. You understand? It makes more sense, right? So that's the work of feather. You can see that in action how it's being used. That's why it's important that when you are cropping an image, always apply feather to it so that all those sharp edges will become soft, right? Do you get it? So that is that. So okay, let's do the other part of this image. You start from where you stop, click here, right? You still keep tracing it. I told you that it's important that we want to zoom in so that we can pick the details, right? Can you see the way I'm doing it gently? You don't, you do it with care. You don't rush it so that you can be able to pick the details. So it's more like you are tracing the part of that person, right? So now, to understand this better, I'm going to share that link with you, that video link with you. Then you are going to practice whatever you get, whatever the instructor tells you to practice. There is also going to be how to remove background from my image from it. Remember, I've selected that area now. What do? I apply feather to it. Right click, apply feather. Then you want 15 is too much. Let me just say 10 or maybe 5. Then I click OK. Then I click what? I delete. Then Control D. Can you see now that? Can you see that? Can you see the edges? It's not sharp. It's kind of soft compared to what we have on the left hand side. So now meaning that with this our image now, it does not have background anymore. I can use it on any background. I can use it on blue. I can use it on yellow. I can use it on what? On red. Let's do that. So now this is what? A shape tool. Say for instance, I want to create a passport now with this man. What will I do? I draw my shape tool. Right? So now to get perfect shape, that has what? Equal sides, that has equal side. So now when you want to draw that image, that rectangle, or maybe that circle, what will you do? You hold down your shift on your computer. You hold down your shift, then you now draw. Can you see now? Can you see now? Can you see now? It's increasing what? Evenly. Do we get it now? Do we get it? So that is it. Then you click what? You can now give it any background that you want. Do we get it? So now I told you initially that what? Photoshop is what? Is in layers. Because this one is above it. Because we first import this image. That's why it's under. And the last one we created was what? Was this square. That's why it's on top of it. So now you want this image to be on top of it. What do? You move it up like this. Do you get it now? Then you remember we did something the other time. We did something the other time that I said that you can place an image inside what? Inside a box, right? So what do? Right click on this image and click a mask. Can you see now? Say for instance, you are designing for an event, right? And they require, pictures of people that are going to be, discussing in that event, maybe like 5 of them. What do? This guy is too big. You highlight it, then you click on, you Control T, which is transformation. When you transformation helps you to move 2 or more objects around your document, right? It also helps you to scale it, to increase the size of that particular selected object, right? It can help you to add more kind of transformation to it, right? Either you increase the size. Let me show you now. Can you see? Right click on, these are the things you can do with transformation. You can rotate. You can rotate in 180 degree. You can rotate in 90 degree. You can rotate in counterclockwise, right? You can flip horizontal. Can you see now? You can flip vertical. Can you see now? Then you can distort it. How do you distort it? By picking one edge. Can you see now? That's the work of what? Distortion. Can you see? But I don't want that. So can you see now? This makes more sense. Then you Control T again. Then you reduce the size. So you're having like 5 of them that are facilitating that particular program or that particular event. What do? You can do this one. You can group this one because you are going to be having more than one speakers in that particular event. So what do? You create new group. You group this one, meaning that this guy and this background, they are now together, right? Let's give this guy a name, maybe Dr. Isaac, right? That's the first speaker. What do? You duplicate this guy, Control J again. Control J to to duplicate. So now we've duplicated it, meaning that we now have another Dr. Isaac on the first side of Dr. Isaac. What do? You Control T again in order to move it. Because if you use ordinary move tool, right, it's just going to move the image. It's going to move the image inside that, that square, because this image has been placed inside that square. It cannot move outside it, except you release the clipping mask, right? By clicking this. That is when you can now move that particular image elsewhere. It's more like you hide this image inside that square shape. That's how it works. So now to move this guy now to another place, you click it, then you Control T. You move the two together. Control T, then you move it here. Do we get it now? So now you also want to Control T again. Control J again, because we have more than one speaker. Control J again, then Control T to move it from the top of that, right? So that's it. So now we've had like maybe 3 speakers now, or maybe 3 passports. So you want to have more, you can click on mark, highlight the 3 of them, then Control J, meaning that you are going to have 6, right? Then Control T with the 3 layers selected, just drag them down. Can you see now? I'm just trying to show you how all these tools work together. Can you see? So now we have been able to talk about transformation, which helps you to rotate your either your image, your shape, your object, and all. It also helps you to flip it, right? Either horizontally or horizontal or vertically, right? Then you can also perform what's it called now? You can also perform perspective. You can change the perspective of that of any object or any image with the help of the transformation. So, and I said that if you if you clip something, probably an image in a square, you cannot use your move tool to move that image out of that shape, out of that square. It is only the transform tool that you can use to move the 2 of them together. You cannot move any of them isolatedly. Can you see this one now? You cannot move it out, the image out of it, because it has been power clipped inside this square. That's why you cannot move it out. Meaning that you can only move the two of them together. And what do? You select that layer, right? And you know that I've grouped them, right? You select that layer, the group, then you Control T. Then you move it around to wherever you want to move it. Do we get it now? So that's how that one works. So now we have talked about move tool. We have talked about polygonal lasso tool. We have talked about crop tool, right? Then we have talked about, okay, we have used your shape tool. Can you see that? We have rectangular tool. You have an ellipse tool. You have triangular tool, triangle tool. If you want to draw a triangle, that's what you have. You select it, then you draw it. And I told you that for you to get equal side of any shape, you have to hold down your shift before you start creating that particular shape. Can you see it now? So now, say you want to add outline to this thing, to this image, this shape now. You want to apply maybe black outline to it, right? Let me show you outline now. So now this is stroke. It's called stroke in what? In Photoshop. Change the appearance, right? So now let's say it is, we want to give it 5. We want to apply 5 around that. Can you see the work of outline? It apply another color, another, how will I put it now? Around that particular shape. Do you get it now? If you increase it to 20, can you see? Then you can change the color of your stroke too. You can change it. Can you see it? Can you see it? Can you see it? So that's how it works. So you can do the same thing to this one too. The initial one that we created, you want to apply what stroke to them too. You want to give them an outline. Click on them, then you increase this, give the size. What size of outline do you want to give it? Let's say 2. Press enter. Can you see now? Well, we want it to be more visible. We change it to what? Increase to what? To 4. Can you see now? So now that is what? Outline. And we have other shapes here. You have circle. You want to draw a circle. Can you see now? You can change the color of that circle. You want to what? Create a polygon shape, maybe 6-sided or something. Can you see? Then another thing, before you create, polygon has many sides, right? So now if you want to create, you want to select, you want to choose this number of sides polygon you want to create. What do you need to do? Just click on this icon, right? Pick this tool, pick it here. Then what do? Click on your what? On your canvas, on your document. Then you now change the size here. Let's say decide. Maybe you want to just create 5, which is hexagon. Is it hexagon? No. 5 is not hexagon. 6 is hexagon. Let's say 6. We want to create 6-side shape. 6. Can you see now? We just created 6-sided polygon. Do we get it now? So that you click on this guy. Because if you click on this now and you draw, it's still going to give us what? That 6, the last one that we use. That's what it's going to. It has even, because it was selected when we created it. That's why it's, it's moving together with it. So let's now create another one now. Can you see? Can you see it now? Because we did not what? It reminded us of the last one we created. That was what? 6 sides. That's why when we created this one, it still gives us what? 6 sides, right? If you want to create 8 sides now, or maybe 7 sides, what do? Click on your what? On your documents, on this place. The area you are working with, click on anywhere, click anywhere there. Then you can now increase the size. Then you can also increase grid. You can also change the sharpness of that particular area. You can increase the radius, right? So now how the curveness of what? Of the area of that particular shape. That's what we call what? Radius. Let's say we change it to maybe 5, right? Can you see now? And you see that it's not as sharp as the other one. You can increase it. No. Can increase it now. This source cut here. Can you see now? Can you see now? It's not as sharp as this one anyway. Can also change that one too. Can you see now? So that's how all of this guy work, right? Let me delete everything. So now you also have your what? Your move tool. Can use to move anything. Can use to move what? To move the document, the old document that you have created. You can use to move it around, right? So that is how. Then this one is your zoom tool. Can use to zoom, right? Can you see? What I did was that I hold my left click, and I was now zooming and what? Dragging it in, dragging it out, dragging it in, dragging it out, right? So now we also have what? I've showed us what? Our type tool. Is our type tool. Most of the time we work with what? Horizontal type tool. So now if you mistakenly click here, vertical type tool, so you are typing and it is going on what? Vertical. It's typing vertically. What do? You just come to this place and change it back to what? To horizontal. Right? Can you see? This horizontal layout. Do we get it? So that is that. Then you also have another one, pen tool, which is very, very important. Can use to draw any shape of your chart. Can you see now? I just used to draw S now. Let me just give it an outline, maybe 5 or maybe 10. Can you see? I just used to what? To draw S. Then Control T. So now I want to change the size. I want to readjust this shape so that it's looking nice. What will I do? I Control T. I click. I Control T. I select that particular layer. Let me go there. I select that particular layer. And I click on what? Control T on my keyboard. Then I rotate it. Can you see it now? This is what transformation will help you to do. You cannot rotate without transforming it. And for you to transform it, you press your what? Control T. Do you get it now? That is that. So now I feel this is important that we go through this tool, because without knowing this, how this tool works, we won't be able to work with them. So now that we have basic understanding of them, then we can now start something today, right? So now by Monday, we now complete the design. Let me say in the next 30 minutes, we are going to close this class, right? But before then, you remember your last class. For every project that you are given, right, to work on, it's going to come in form of a brief. Do we get it now? It's going to come in form of a what? In form of a brief, right? Help us to work on this project. We want to create we want to run an advertisement for our product, right? They will give you the details, the phone number, the logo, and all of that. They will give. In fact, there are information that you ask from your client, especially if it's a business, when they engage you to work on their design. And some of the most important information are what? Their logo. It's important that you ask for their logo. Then another important information is that, in fact, when it comes to professional level now, you ask of their brand guide. Brand guide is a document that helps you to that gives you an understanding of how to use their color, where to position their image, because it's branding. There is a way they want to appear. They want to appear before their target customers. Do you get it now? So now there is a way they want to appear. So now they've now documented everything. So that is what you should request from them. So that when you are now using their color, you will not misuse their color. You will not use white when you're supposed to use red. You will not use orange when you're supposed to use yellow, right? Brand guide. But most of the companies that you see out there, especially those small businesses, right? Especially most of them that are on Instagram, they don't even know anything called brand guide. It is when you are designing for maybe an established company, that is when you request for that. Because anybody that works on their logo would have helped them to create a brand guide that will guide their communication across all channels, both online and offline. Do we get it now? So now, for the sake of this class now, what you are going to now ask from your clients is what? You ask for their logo. You ask for the kind of font. If they have a specific font that they use in their communication. If you look at MTN, you can go and check MTN page now, Instagram page. You will see that there is a font that they are using and they never change it. That is their own font. If you see their G, you will know that this is from MTN. Do you understand now? So now you want to ask them their font, the color that they are using, their logo, they are important, right? In fact, those are the things that are more important to you. But now, if they also want to what they want you to add their social media information to it, maybe their Instagram and Facebook, and you ask from them if they want it on the design. Then, if they also want their phone number to be there, you ask them. These are important information for you to ask, because you cannot design for GT Bank now without knowing their color, without having access to their logo, without having access to the kind of fonts they use in their brand communication, right? So those things are very, very they are very, very essential. So after you have now been given the brief, you have been provided with this information, you have also been given a brief to work on. Then you break down the brief. What is the most important information on this brief? What do they want the customer to see first? How do I represent it? And that is the place of research that you carried out the last time. Which kind of image do I want to use in this design? Right? Which kind of image do I want to use? Then you know the resources, you know where to get those images already. I don't need to still go to that. Then they must have already tell you the name of their font. Then you go online and download their font. Then you also go on Pinterest, search for design inspiration. Maybe you want to download maybe 5 of them. Then out of the 5 of them, you pick 1 or 2 things around them. Then you say, okay, this is what I want to work with. Then before you now say you want to come to Photoshop to do what? To design. Do you get it now? Before you now come to Photoshop, they are saying that I want to design. In fact, most of the time, what you do is that there are some people that they will even sketch how they want their design to look like. Before they even come to Photoshop, they have a kind of picture of what they want to create in their head before they even come to the software. In fact, the software is the least thing. You must have completed the whole design from your head before you even say that I want to come and use Photoshop. Most of the time, right? In fact, most of the work is done outside the software that you are using, because you must have gathered the resources that you need in your design. Do we get it now? So now, what are you now going to do? After you have been given the brief, right? You gather the information and you decided on the direction you want to go in your design, right? Then you now come to Photoshop and start creating. Do we get it now? So what we are now going to do now is that let's see how far we can go. I'm going to share my screen again with you now, and I'm going to show you what we are going to be designing. I'm not sure we are going to be able to complete it today, but what we are going to do is, let me try and see if I can locate that particular, okay, this image. This is what we want to design, right? I'm coming, let me go back to my screen. So now, okay, let me share this one now. This is what we want to design. This is what we are going to be designing, right? Look at this design now. Look at this design. Say, for instance, you are also working on this type of project. You want to work on this type of project, right? Look at this font that they use here. Pixivo, Burger, right? Look at this font that they use. Say you also want to use this kind of font in your own project. How do you go about it? It means that you have to search for this particular, the name of this font before you can be able to use it. And how do you get it? There are software online that you can also use to get the name of your software, of the font that is used in any design. And that is why, if it's, say for instance, it's GT Bank that I engaged you now, they must have told you the name of their font. That's why I was emphasizing that you request for that, for their for all those information from them. So now you have your font, you have your logo. Let's say this is your logo. This free delivery place is where your logo is, right? It means that also you must have downloaded this one, the image, what that you want to use. Look at it. I'm using an order now. This is their phone number. Look at what I was telling you, right? after you must have gotten all this information before you now start creating. And what we are now going to start with next class is what? We are going to be recreating this guy because our time is gone already, right? We are going to recreate this guy from scratch. We will search for this. I will show you a technique where you can use that. You can use to what? To know the font that is used in a particular design. Probably you love the font and you also want to replicate it in your own design. I'm going to show you how to get it, right? Then we are going to download these images too. In fact, let's see if we can download this image now before we conclude for today, so that we know that next time we come, we are doing what? We are just designing. So now this is a burger, right? And this one is like a what's called these chips, right? McDonald's chip. Then this is like a cup of what? It's like a cup of what's it called now? Cup of Coke, right? So now let's search from the you already know where to get your image, right? So now what I'm just going to do, I will just do my own thing, but still watch me as I do it. Let me go to what? Let me go to Chrome, my Chrome. So I want to search. Let me say, I want to use Yandex. I don't know if your instructor told you about Yandex.com. Can you see now? Find everything. Then I search for what? Burger. Okay. So that we can be able to use it in our next class. Then I click on image here, images here. Can you see a lot of them? Can you see a lot of them? So now, depending on the one that you like, you can choose, right? So now we are working on the burger project, right? And we just have to pick the one that I love the most, right? So now if I pick this one now, you know that you have to allow it to load, right? Allow your image to load before you download them. So now if I'm using this one, it means that look at the image that we are working with. It has no background. It is white background. So that for us to have this image on our design page, the one that we want to use, it means that we have to first remove this black background so that we are going to be left with this burger alone at the end of the day. So now that's how it works. That's why you need to know how to remove the background of any image you want to work with in your design, right? I don't know if you are following me, but I believe so because I'm not rushing. I'm just taking my time. So what we want to do next is let's see the best one that we can use. Let's say, okay, let's choose this one. No, we are not. I'm not using this one. I want the one that is. Okay, let's use this one. This one does not even have any background. The background has been removed. So now I like this one. I save it, save images. Let me create a document for it. Let me create a file for a folder for it. So now Ember booster resources. So now Ember booster resources, images, right? So now I save that one. Then a cup of what? I also said cup of Coke, or maybe drink or something. Can you see now? Let's say this one. Let's pick this one. So now looking at this one, it's also having white background, meaning that I have to remove the background. Let's use this one. Okay, this one look like the one they use in that design. Let's download it. We are going to remove the background of this one. Right? So now what else? What other things do they use in the design? Let me check. Let's check what they use. Okay, they use this, what's it called now? The chips, right? So let's go back. Let's check that chip. Let's download chips now. McDonald's chips, right? Click it. And you see, I type my McDonald's chips. And that's, when I first typed chip the other time, chips the other time, it did not give me any result. But because I know that it is McDonald's that used to produce that kind of, chips, that's what I know. So is it this one? Thank God, this one does not even have any background. Makes sense. So we just use straight up, then download it, save image as, get it, then save. So now we are done with our resources. So now the only thing that we are left with is what? Is to check the, can you see, we have our Coke already, we have our burger, then we have our chips. So now the only thing that we are left with is what? If you look at the background of this design, if you look at the background, you will see that there is a kind of pattern, burger pattern behind it. Because they don't want the background to be plain. That's why they use this pattern. So we are also going to download that. Let's say food pattern. Let's search for food pattern on what? On Google. Let's use the same resources, food pattern, right? Then we pick the best one that we like. Or maybe burger mix pattern. Let's see if we are going to get something that is okay. I think we can use this, or it's too kind of okay. Let's use this guy. Okay, I think we can use this. Okay, we can use this. Let's download this, right? So now we save it, save image as, right? So we cool with that now, right? Or maybe let's say food pattern, what I first searched the other time, food pattern. So we have a lot of them here now. Okay, I think we can use this. Let me see, let's explore. Which one can we use? Which one will give us better result? This one looks like pizza, right? This one looks like, I'm not using pizza. I'm using what? I'm using the one that has burger in it. You know, people have done a lot of work that you just have to download and use your own project. Okay, let's use this one. This one look more final. Save images, right? The idea of this pattern is for us not to have a plain background in our design, right? We want to add a kind of pattern to it, you know, make it more, a kind of texture, right? We want to add a level of texture to it, right? So that's why we need this. So with that, we are done with our what? We have downloaded all the images we need. It's only this font that is left. Let me see if we can also achieve that today before we call it a day. Let's see. So now the website I'm going to be using for that is what? Is whatfontis.com. Type it, write it down. Whatfontis.com. So that is the website we are going to use to check for the what? For the, let me drop it in the chat box. So that's the website we are going to use to know the font that is used in any project. Maybe you also want to replicate the same font, then you can use it. So now let's close this guy. Browse by clicking here. This is the website. Are we following? I'm not sure, because I can only see two people here. It's even myself that I can see. That's why I feel that probably you guys will watch the, you know, you will rewatch the video anyway, right? So now, okay. So now this is the website, whatfontis.com. This is the interface, right? So that what we want to do now is what? Locate this place, this right side now, this right side. Then you will see browse by clicking here, this place. Click it, right? So now once you click it, it will prompt you to open the file, right? Where you have that font. You open it, and this is it. This is the file now, right? You open it, this is the file, then you open. It will upload it, you give it maybe some few minutes, right? Can you see now? Then you click next. Okay, can you see now? It has even cropped that place out. Many at times when you use this software, this website, it may not give you perfect font name, right, that is being used, but it will still give you something that is close that you can still work with. Do you get it? It may not give you perfect stuff, but at least it will still give you what you can still, what is closed. Then after you have selected the parts that you want to what? Search the font. This is where we want, and that is why you see it like that. Click on it. Then you do what? Next step. You click on next what? Next step. Next step. Okay. Can you see now? Can you see now? Can you see? And you also click what? Next step. Next what? Next step. So now what we are now going to do is, you see these boxes that is below the font now, you are now going to be typing any letter that you can see that is displayed. I can see B here. I type B, capital letter B. I can see U or maybe G from this one. I type what? It does not necessarily mean that you type all the letters that you see. It's not even going to permit you. You are only permitted to what? To type one letter, one character inside those boxes. Then you want to type what? Maybe I want to type U on this one, and I want to type P here, right? And I want to type maybe X or I. Let me type I in this one. Let me type dot here, right? No, let me type dot here. Let me type U here, right? It's only U that is displayed there. We are done. And you also click next. Okay, I want to click on display only free fonts, because this website, you can buy, there are some people that they sell their fonts on this website. So now, for me, I don't want to buy any fonts. I only want free fonts that I can download. What do? I check this to display only what? Free fonts. I checked it, it turned to blue, and I click next step. I hope we are following. Can we see now? Can we see now? So now these are the fonts now. It's going to display them now. So now we now start searching. We start scrolling down. It's not giving us what we want yet. What is going on here? You know, this website is an AI driven website. So there are times they misbehave. This is not giving us what we want at the moment. All we are going to do is I'm going to do it again. They're asking me to. Okay, what I'm going to do is what? I'm going to start again what fontis.com. I don't know why it's not giving me what I want. I'm going to start it again all over again. Select the image. That will also give you an opportunity to do what? To learn, to master how to use the website. Please wait. The next step. Then I've selected where I want. Yes, next step. Next step. Then B, U, A, I, anything. Then let's display only free fonts. Let's see what it's going to bring this time around. It's the same thing though. It's not giving us what we want. I still use it. What is that? What's going on? Okay, I know what to do. Watchpointis.com. Let's go back. What we are going to do is we will make sure that it is only that part that we want to know the form that we crop out. That could be the issue that we are facing. It's almost 3:30. So this is what I'm saying. I'm not sure this should be the issue anyway. But let's see what we're going to get now. Okay. Okay. It has even helped us with some of them. G. X. Okay, let's see this one. Let's see what is going to give us now. Okay, at least this one still displays some fonts. But this didn't give us what we want. Let me try something else. Websites to check fonts used in a design. My font, let's see if we are going to get what we want from here. My font is, I just want us to get it right. So this one is requiring us to, okay, upload image, makes sense. Let's see if this is going to help us. What font is not cooperating. It's not cooperating. So we want to use another one. Okay, identify fonts in your image. There are times that it will ask you to pay. Can you see now? If you don't have money, you just look for the name. If you are able to find it, you just look for the name of the font and now go to Google, then search for it, right? So many times that's what we do, especially if you don't have money to what? You don't have money to buy the font itself, right? So that's what you do. These ones are not looking like the one that is used in that project. This one seems to look like it, but it's not. Let's check. Let's check further. Let's check further. Just showing you the process I take, right? When I'm creating when I'm designing anything. So I first research, after breaking down the brief, then I start searching for inspiration online. What people have done. I see, gather idea together. Then it's maybe during the point of, doing the research, carrying out the research, maybe I like one or two things that they use in their design that I also want to integrate into my home. What do? I look for instance now, I love the fonts that they use based on the project we want to work on. Then it means that I need to now. That's why I'm looking for the fonts now. Do you get it? Yes. Okay. This even allows us to flip it. This will allow us to get the exact, area that we want to crop. Isn't it? Okay, I think there is a limit to how you can. Okay, let's see now. No, Can you see now? It's an AI-driven website. That is why. So that's why AI is not perfect. Do you get it? It's not perfect. Maybe because I rotate it so you don't understand anything again. So now we're trying to identify the font, but it's not giving us what we want anyway. So that's the challenge we're in together. I think this wants to, and does this look like it? XU. I think a bit, I think. Okay, let's try more. Does this? I can't really say. No. I hope we are following. We can see how these are the things that these are what we go through before you see any fine design out there, especially for, so you must do the work, put in the work, right? Maybe if you can't find the exact one, you are just going to use the one that is closest to it. So we can move on. It's just to download this and close for the day. So by on Monday, we are going to design the flyer. We are going to complete it. Then maybe we also want to check Illustrator that very day. Application of Illustrator, what it can be done through Illustrator and all that. Okay, think this one, no, this one, no. None of these ones look like it anyway, but we can just just download one and just move on. Let's just download one now. Or let's check the first three. We want to check this one. Okay, it's even asking us to pay Belinda New Bold. Let's search for it. You see what I'm talking about? Belinda New Bold font free download. So I've been able to get the name of that font right. This is the name here. What do? I go on Google and I search for it, the name. If I'm able to get it for free, then why not? We download it, then I will use the project. As long as it's not a project that I want to, that I want to maybe sell at the end of the day. I'm not selling it. We will just want to use to practice this, because many a time there are some fonts you are going to use in your project that you won't be permitted to export it, right? You won't be permitted to export it. In fact, there are companies that they can sue you because of it, and one can be jailed because of that. Tell you the truth. That is why many a time you can if you want to up your game, you can buy fonts of your own and start using it. Can't find that font. See if you can get it here. It's not even this one. I think, let's see. Can you see now? This one, we've been able to download it, right? Have we been able to do so? It's not downloading. Okay, download will start automatically. If you are having problems, you can manually start downloading by clicking here. Let's manually download it. Okay, it has downloaded. Can you see? Then what do? I think we are done. This is the font, right? Then I install it. So by Monday, today is Friday. So by Monday, what do? We work on it. So now the assignment I'm giving you guys is that I'm going to share a link with you all, right? And it has to do with Photoshop. It's a Photoshop tutorial. I'm going to share the link with you. So before Monday, you must have mastered it. So that by Monday, what we are doing is just, we are completing this design, right? So now by following what we have done, I think you can also, okay, what I'm even going to do is that this particular design, I'm going to share it with you guys on the group. Do you get it? So now you can also now go ahead and download all those resources. The same way I went through it, also go through your own, right? Download it. So by Monday, we are just designing. We start designing and we complete it, then we move towards Illustrator. Do we get it? So now that's what we are doing on Monday. This one is just maybe an introduction to Photoshop, then out leveraging on what we were taught last Wednesday regarding downloading resources you need for your project, right? That is what we are able to do today. So by Monday, we are going to be working with the resources that we have, right? I expected that every one of us would also download those resources on their system. So by Monday, we start designing, right? So thank you for joining today. I appreciate every one of you. For as many that is not able to make it, please try and watch the recording. Thank you and have a wonderful day. See you on Monday. God bless you. Then if you have any question, you can drop it on the, what's it called now? Our Facebook page, right? Or maybe you even have one that you want to ask now. If we have anybody that dropped question on probably Facebook, please, you can, maybe the admin can help me to check and send to us. If not, you can drop it, comment on this particular video on Facebook. Then maybe by next class, we can now, answer the question, right? So
thank you, Mr.
If you don't have anyone on maybe, okay, wanted to say something?
Yes, there's a question here on Facebook.
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me? There's a question here on Facebook.
No question on Facebook, Abby?
There is a question on Facebook.
Okay, what's the
treasure is
question?
asking, what version of CorelDRAW should we use?
No, I'm using Photoshop. I'm not using CorelDRAW.
I said so. So the other one asked if Photoshop can be used on phone.
Yes, there is a mobile version of it, but it's not advisable to use phone, because when you are employed to work in an agency, you don't use phone to do it. You use system to do it. So you can start with your phone anyway. You can practice with your phone. Go on Play Store and download Photoshop. Right? Play Store, download Photoshop. Then probably on Monday, I'm going to show you how you can remove the background of your probably you want to use an image in your project on phone. Then there are websites that can help you to remove the background before you can now use it on that project. Right? So that you can just, when you now have system, you can now practice with system. Is there another question?
No, sir, that's all. Thank you.
Okay, now, so if we have any further question, we can send it to, probably on the WhatsApp group or on the Facebook page. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining. We appreciate you and we look forward to seeing you on Monday. God bless you all. Thank you.